Alright, boys and girls, you're just about done rolling up your shiny new character, complete with tragic backstory of dead parents and siblings, and a mysterious, aka yet to be determined by the dungeon master, demigod, and or devil cutting a deal with you for your awesome caster powers, and you've already picked out your leveled spells, but now it's time to choose your 3 cantrips. If your choices seem like they suck, that's because they do. But fear not, I'm here to prevent you from aimlessly wandering into mediocre choices like Spare the Dying, and I'll just lay out the best 9 cantrips in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, or in other words, the only 9 cantrips you should ever even take the time to write down on your character sheet. In no particular order, we'll start with the best cantrip in the game. See what I did there? Message! Yes, indeed, I would rank this as numero uno in the world of free at-will magic spells in D&D 5e. Being able to communicate with your party members when shit starts to hit the fan and you realize you've split the party to the point of certain doom is invaluable, not to mention all the incredible shenanigans you most likely will endure over the course of a campaign, threatening the Dungeon Master's super secretive Team Rocket-like bad guys in intense negotiations, or as I like to call it, the pre-murder exchange of insults. With a solid 120-foot range and no need to actually see your target, yes, it works through walls, the message spell is legitimately worth taking and is actually useful. So basically the complete opposite of True Strike. Moving on to our second cantrip, we have Guidance. Are you or a buddy about to pick a lock, sneak around a corner, grab a guard from behind with a grapple check, convince a seedy underworld boss to aid your cause, make an intelligence check for a creepy cult statue, or jump a gap on a mountainside? Just give them the good old backslap guidance cast and have them each take an extra D4. Completely stackable with advantage, Guidance is an immediate party booster for pretty much everything out of combat that you can think of. If you have a cleric or druid in the party and they don't take this, you've clearly wronged them in some way and you should find out what you did and apologize. Cantrip number 3 is about as straightforward as you're going to get here. Light. Are you a human? Do you have spells? Okay, then take light, because seeing is important and stuff, and sometimes, you'll be in dark places or maybe even underwater, and not seeing in those places is not good where seeing in those places is good. Light good. Take light. Moving on to our 4th cantrip, I'm going to cheat here and combine 2 cantrips for number 4 because it's my YouTube channel and you can't tell me not to. And also, if I didn't, then I would have to put the only 10 cantrips worth taking, and then that sounds like a clickbaity top 10 list, like it's forced, so I'm cheating so I can put 9, which is less clickbaity, but it's actually more clickbaity. Anyways, we have 4A and 4B with Firebolt and Eldritch Blast. These are basically the same spells, with Eldritch Blast being more consistent mathematically, yet more conservative mathematically. It's really simple. These are your damaging spells that you can always use, because 5th edition had to coddle us and never let casters run out of spells, unlike 2nd edition and 3rd edition, where you had to freaking think before just firing away spells willy-nilly, or else you'd end up facing the boss fight with a crossbow that had to be reloaded every other round, while you sat there like a soft target lump of meat that you are. These are the only damage-dealing cantrips worth taking if your class isn't Cleric or Bard, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. They simply outclass Chill Touch, Frostbite, Toll the Dead, etc. with their range and damage. But Cody, Frostbite has a chance to give someone disadvantage. No. Stop it. Our 5th and 6th cantrips on our list of cantrips worth taking are the clerical and bardic counters to Firebolt and Eldritch Blast, Sacred Flame, and Vicious Mockery. First off, neither of these are as good as the first two, but they do have enough upside to warrant even taking and using in a game. The cleric's Sacred Flame does have the advantage that it deals radiant damage, which is almost never resisted, and solid against undead mob types. Also, the 60-foot range kinda sucks at times, but in theory, a lot of clerics are at least close enough to the middle of combat in case they need to heal that it should still be long enough. For Bard, I like Vicious Mockery because the damage type Psychic is probably the best damage type in the game after Force, and because oftentimes the Bard is doing more with their bonus action than any other caster, freeing them up to slide in a cantrip and not have it feel any less impactful, specifically throwing Healing Word and Bardic Inspiration, while also having the benefit of potentially giving disadvantage on at least one attack directed at the fighter that you just pulled back up from dying status with that Healing Word. Cantrip number 7 on our best cantrips in 5e is Mage Hand. Okay, here's the deal. I think in general, Mage Hand is overrated and a bit underwhelming for the amount of immediate love that people give it, but it is still worth taking for those rare occasions that it's needed. And if nothing else, it helps significantly with breaking out of jail whenever your cocky fighter decides to pop off to the city guard, as it requires no material components to cast. Additionally, and this is something worth noting for all of you dungeon masters out there, Mage Hand can in fact carry most weapons. This is something that I've ruled incorrectly in the past based on my gut reaction, and frankly, I got it wrong. After stopping a session simply to Google it, I was very surprised to find out how much weapons actually weigh, with most coming in around 2 to 4 pounds. Seriously, even monstrous great swords typically weigh about 3.5 to 4.5 pounds based on my research, well within the Mage Hand 10-pound limit. And after thinking about it, that makes sense, considering how defensive these weapons needed to be, or else everyone using them would have just died immediately. And even modern sledgehammers, which I imagine would be significantly heavier than a longsword, only weighs about 10 pounds. There are many times when I see players trying to overuse or abuse Mage Hand in silly ways that it wasn't designed for, but still Mage Hand is legitimately useful in the right situation, unlike Prestidigitation. Moving on to our 8th cantrip, we have Mending. This is another overhyped spell, but in all truth, Mending is still a good spell. It's a little more situational than I typically like, but in campaigns where dungeon masters like to insert a bit of item tax and wear, this spell is, as the kids say, totally lit. I've seen players whip this thing out in surprising ways to repair broken down dungeon doors, to bar off pursuers, fix wagon wheels during NPC interactions, and use Mending in all sorts of Bob the Builder roleplay moments. It's unique enough that it's actually useful, and that's why it made the list. And finally, we have the last best cantrip, or cantrip even worth taking on our list, Minor Illusion. This spell is good. It's not game-breaking like a lot of players seem to think it is, but it's good. First off, let me say I like this spell as a dungeon master because it rewards, and thus allows me to reward and say yes to creative players. That's a major, major, major plus in my book. Secondly, for players, it allows you to solve problems without always having to roll initiative. If you have 2 casters with this cantrip in your party, the limits of just being able to produce a sound or an illusion dramatically fall away. Now, to be honest, this spell sucks in combat, in my opinion, but out of combat or right before combat, it can really shine. And if creative individuals can take a single cantrip casting and reduce the CR of an upcoming combat, that's valuable. Okay, now I know a lot of you are already upset and shaking your heads at some of the cantrips that got left off this list, but I went through all 45 of them one by one, and I stand by my analysis. Thaumaturgy, Prestidigitation, Shillelagh, Green Flameblade, Toll the Dead, Frostbite, Word of Radiance. I saw them all. I've seen all of these used in games, and each of them more than once. And these are trap picks. Each of these lacks efficiency and are frankly just there so the sorcerer can obnoxiously announce that they are cleaning their robes over and over during a campaign. But if you disagree with me, feel free to let me know down in the argument section below. Consider this my meme post of there are only 9 cantrips worth taking in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, change my mind sign. I'm looking forward to all the but thaumaturgy posts. Really, I am. Man, I am feeling catty today. I had a really crappy month this month. Oh, and one last really weird thing. Okay, this is not a sponsored video. Let me make that clear. And I get emails all the time asking me to promote mobile games, and I never even really look into them because I don't play them, and promoting something that I don't believe in is just disingenuous, in my opinion. But seriously, I freaking love Empires and Puzzles, and I realized that this month I've been playing it for over a full year. So I'm throwing my referral link down in the description for people that might be interested in checking it out if they want. It's basically a match 3 puzzle game that are used as battle mechanics but layered on top of a Pokemon-style rock, paper, scissors RPG with fantasy heroes for really no other reason than I have 175,000 subscribers and I want the extra VIP rewards for referrals. I'm not even sorry. That's just good leverage. Man, I really should have contacted Small Giant Games and gotten paid for this. Oh well, too late now. I, of course, want to give a huge shout out to all of my amazing, sexy patrons over at WelcomeAdventures.com. It's because of you guys that I can keep doing this, and I love doing this, and so for that, I'm just incredibly grateful. If you guys like what I do here and you want to snag some rewards for yourself, WelcomeAdventures.com is a great way to very cheaply, support the channel, or maybe use my Empires and Puzzles referral link. I'll take either. If this is your first time here and you love role-playing games as much as I do, I would love to have you subscribe. Every week I put out new videos on GM tips, player tips, tutorials, and more just like this. And if this sounds like something that might be interesting to you, just hit that subscribe button down below and come join us. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Cody, and may your games be filled with awesome memories and even better friends. I'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah.